So there's a discussion that's going on in the culture right now that I feel very conflicted on. And it's really the resurgence of HRT. And here's why I feel conflicted on it is I feel like it's overshadowing the lifestyle changes that we need to make. And
like all medication?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, and I'm just going to be really transparent. I had a meeting with my OB. You know her, Dr. Felice Gersh. She's in your
mine.
She's yours too.
She's mine.
She's the best OB. In fact, I hate sending people to her because then I can't get an appointment.
I know. I met with her at 7:30 in the morning on a Saturday.
No,
which I mean, amen to her.
Amen to her.
Yeah, being willing to see me on a Saturday at 7:30 in the morning.
Yes. She's like iconic. She's in her 70s, and I tell her she can never ever leave practice because we're all benefiting from what she's saying. But what we do with HRT with me is that she puts me on the lowest dose, and then every 90 days we check, like we're still trying to get the dose down. And so the other day we were talking about HRT, and she said to me, "Well, you know the big pharma playbook, right?" And I was like, "What's the big pharma playbook?" And she said that, she goes, I've been in practice for so long, I can see it, is they put health influencers out there, and before it was authors, and then it was, people in magazines. Now it's social media. They put books out there like, hey, you really need to be on HRT. And they create a demand for it. And as they create a demand for it, then all of a sudden everybody listens to the demand and they go rushing to their doctors and they ask for it. And this is how we start to get big pharma starts to make money. They did this with Ozempic. They've done this with antidepressants. They've done it with statins. Like you put somebody out there saying we need it and then they create the demand for it. I'm not saying that the people that are talking about it are bad or being paid. I really want to make sure I'm clear on that. But where I'm confused and where I may be a little bit sad is that what's happening is we're slowly, as the HRT conversation is getting louder and louder, is lifestyle is disappearing. And I brought Dr. Mary Claire Haver on here a couple of years ago and asked her, if you take HRT, is that a free pass from lifestyle? And she was like, absolutely not. And so so we can keep, I feel like the PR agency for lifestyle, and I know you're a part of this, where do you see this balance of HRT and lifestyle? How do we ride both channels and use it to our perimenopausal benefit?
First, want to say that I believe wholeheartedly that women deserve all the tools in the toolbox.
Yeah, well said.
And that we have been denied many of those tools for too long. Mm-hmm. And as a result, 66 million women are on SSRIs and anti-anxiety medications, and a lot of us are on all kinds of other medications as a result of both a combination of lifestyle and not having access to hormone replacement therapy. Of all the pillars in the book, this is the last pillar. Ooh. Because it's an optimizer.
Ooh,
because I will say, I'm on HRT. I'm obviously working with Felice. That's what she does. I'm on HRT.
She's pro. Yeah, me too. I just want to say me too.
Yes. And I will tell you that when it comes to mitigating my symptoms, it is not HRT that's mitigating my symptoms.
So well said. Tell me.
It's lifestyle.
Yeah. Can you give an example of that? Because I was actually, and again, I'm just being really transparent. I was talking to my agent this morning, and she's in her 60s, and she was telling me that a lot of her friends who are so enamored with HRT are starting to become disillusioned because they were putting patches on and rubbing creams and thinking
and it's not working.
That all their problems would go away.
Exactly. I think we think it's this catch-all Band-Aid. I mean, that's exactly what in a lot of ways, that's the marketing around it, is that it's the thing that we've been denied, and it's the thing that's going to solve all of our problems. And it's not, and I do talk, it's interesting kind of writing the line, because that's literally what this book is all about, is one, demonstrating how mission critical these hormones are. Because they are, and we can feel it when they begin to erratically decline. And I think the reason why we really feel it is that it's so erratic. This isn't a linear decline. It isn't a slow retirement out. It is like a train wreck,
like a roller coaster
in front of our eyes. It's a roller coaster ride, and it can feel so destabilizing. I always want to honor that, and I want women to understand why, because the fact that women keep getting gaslit and dismissed when they are going through the subjective brain-related and body physical symptoms, it just angers me so much. And with that said, you know, I'm not going to pretend like I was doing all the right things heading into perimenopause. There was definitely some work to be had, some cleanup. But most importantly for me, a lot of it was regulating my nervous system. My stress response system was on overdrive. And let me tell you, that doesn't lend to any of those other symptoms leveling out. Like it makes them worse. I would say that the silent saboteur of all of this is often a deregulated stress response system. And I get that so many of us are, but let me tell you what doesn't fix a deregulated nervous system: HRT.
Oh, so well said. Thank you. Thank you.